finish line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up.
You know, I honestly can't remember the last time we were here at Daytona Road Course here, but what the heck, we're back here live now. Race fans, welcome to the show and welcome to the iteration of tonight's action for the Venom Truck Series. This is the race for the Space Coast 143 at the Daytona Road Course live here and now on PTM Racing TV. Hi everyone, I am the Crusader Chris Stride, joining you guys here today, live from the action, live on the call here on our Facebook and YouTube. And as I probably have said way too often now, way too much, yes, we're live on both ends. We've been asked constantly, we've been asked a lot, and yes folks, we were able to finally do it. The accomplishment is here and the dream has been realized. We have been able to completely bring both streams to life and bring both streams to the platform. And speaking of streaming to the platform right now, how about this tonight? We got 20 drivers locked and loaded here for the Daytona Road Course, and with a solid stack lineup here on the gridding order, we'll certainly see quite a few twists and turns on this track as the Daytona Road Course, as always, put on a bit of a fight and put on a bit of a drive around for this kind of a circuit, this kind of a place. Let's take a look at that right now here as we take a look at our track tech talk. And really, as a Kate, this is what you're going to see a lot of. You're going to see a lot of huge moves and huge dive bombs in through some of these turns, in through some of these corners. Turn 1 especially will be egregious. You'll see a little bit of a workaround though through the back straight at end of the inside of the track. Then as they get to the back end where they build up a lot of speed, kind of similar to what you saw at the Charlotte Roval, you'll see a lot of guys kind of starting to muscle and tinker with the feels and the speeds. You see a lot of big runs and some big heavy hitters coming through that, if at all possible. It's going to be a very tough dodge course. It's going to be a very tight little ended circuit for the turning wise, but for the open areas, like of course the back straightaway and that front straightaway to the finish line, you'll see a lot of moves here or there with the draft and the push off. This is definitely not your typical Daytona oval circuit kind of race. This is a whole different ball game. 3 minutes left on the clock here before we get live on the action. Fans, if you haven't already, share the stream around, get some folks on the show, and show some love to them, show some love to us here. We would appreciate it. Our YouTube and Facebook is live right now, so if you can share them around, and if you haven't already, like subscribe here on our YouTube end, and like and follow on our Facebook end if you haven't already. We certainly appreciate it. We appreciate, love seeing you guys around here on the show a lot more often. As mentioned before, our plan is to continuously go through all our broadcast ends. We will be streaming live on YouTube and Facebook from here on out with the picture clarity at about 1080p. We certainly have been glad to work with some folks and glad to get this finally figured out. So thank you so much to everyone that was involved to help that out. And of course, as we said before, so many new things we've worked on, this being one of our latest projects. We still got a lot of things we have not talked to you guys about. But here today anyway. Here, of course, we are going to talk about the Daytona Road Course race here for the Venom Truck Series. The Venom Truck Series here have found themselves in a very unique little circumstance. 143 kilometers here that they'll be driving. That is actually why they call it the race for the Space Coast 143. 25 laps to the distance in this case here. It's a very unique little circuit. Again, I mean, it's been ran on before by the Cup Series, and it's been ran on before by, you know, the 24 Hours of Daytona, the IMSA Series. I believe even Formula One's tested out here. IndyCar's messed around here a little bit. There's been a lot of different varieties and variations this track has seen over the course of many years and many times, but I don't think we really see it too often than not here on the iRacing end, at least the broadcast wise for us, because generally speaking, this isn't usually a track that comes up unless you're literally talking about the 24 Hours of Daytona. That iRacing has even officially been made with the virtual end as well. This is more of a breeding ground for guys to kind of just do their own little thing, their own little test session, kind of their own little ride-off, and see who can outplay the other and who can outrun the best of the best. And with these road courses here, again, it really boils down to one thing: how well can you turn right and how well can you turn left, and also maximize your equipment and use the most power. It's a different type of racing. It's a different style of racing, to say the least, and that's exactly what these guys are going to have to configure to, and they're going to have to get used to rather quickly before it gets too little too late for their end. So right now, currently, we're looking on our field of drivers currently as well. We're going to take a look as well at the finishers so far this season. We've had quite a few finishers and quite a few winners throughout, but the biggest thing I'm going to tell you here is the race results do not lie on our end and on our playing field. So far out of the season, Kyle Zittel has been a winner. Andy Plicki popped one off. Jeff Langston, then it was Carson Mitchell, twice actually, back to back. Paul Ellison popped away with one. Chad Stearns got himself one. Ryan Dye, just a couple of weeks ago, got himself off that leaderboard and off that list. And then last weekend, it was the All-Stars race there. Nathan Reynolds was able to win that one out, so he now puts his name into the spotlight and into the show. Definitely a unique variety of positions and finishers here. And Kyle Zittel, the only driver that won here at Daytona so far this season, you know, you kind of wonder yourself, can he find a way to mix and match the speeds from the actual Daytona Oval to his race here today? We saw him a little earlier, putting down a little bit of practice laps and a little bit of fuel on there, and he wasn't doing half bad. But I do feel like that he's got a lot of timing. He's going to have to get dialed up here if he wants any chance to knock down the best. But nevertheless, race fans, the time has come indeed here, and it is time to bring out your drivers for the field stage today. It is time to showcase to you the race for the Space Coast 143 at Daytona Road Course. This is time for the Venom Truck Series. And on the pole, standing in front of the top of the leaderboards, Andy Plicki will be in the number 32, with his outside being the number 15, Ryan Dye. Row number 2 is Michael Krall, and the 11 to his outside will be the big 55, Paul Ellison. In row number 3, John Kay pilots down the tube to his outside, and the 99, Will Salamoni. Row number 4 is Jan Van Leer in the number 5, his outside, the big 53, Kyle Zittel. Row number 5 is Eric Breeding in the 26, his outside. In the 35, Shane Winslow. Row number 6 is Chad Stearns. In the number 05, his outside will be Mr. Michael Dean in the 73. Row number 7 is going to be Brantley Gainey Jr. in the 22. To his outside, it is the 17. That is Garrett Rainey. Row number 8 is Josh Maxwell, and the 8 is outside will be the 18, Kyle Dumig. Row number 9 is Pascal Samard Pace, and the 76 is outside. In the 12, Jeremy McKinnon. And final stars in row 10, the 50, Corey Rutherford, is outside. The 28, Rodney Roberts. Race fans, the time has come here at Daytona Beach, Florida, and Daytona International Speedway has now set to host for the race for the Space Coast 143 here on P10 Race TV. It's time to drop the hammer, let the trucks loose, and let them scream out the track. Let the zoomies free, let the engines roar. It's time to go racing at Daytona. The field is now set to go, ready to reel them off into the distance. You see them coming courser and course through to the corner base track, to the corner base ends. Everybody looking to set off the start, set off the field. We are ready to go racing here at Daytona Road Course. It's time to go. The race for the Space Coast 143 begins. Off the shot. The 32 of Andy Flicky gets a good jump out of the start. Michael Crawl in the 11 looking to try to gain some ground on him as they have to sweep through the narrow turns. You're going to see a lot of turning through the first section. There's a lot of drivers just trying to get their wits and get their grits going. Jan Van Leer stebbling up on the left side. Here comes Kyle Zittel in the 53, moving the chains ahead. Now getting a few spots up from him. Well, Salamone in the 99 trying to evade and trying to escape quickly. Rest of your field just kind of maneuvering through. The Dean of drivers, Michael Dean in the 73, now going for Eric Breeding, the 26, as Breeding tries to stabilize the truck down out of the gate. And through the hard corners here, some wide open areas, some wide F and turning area, of course. They don't want to break down the fields too quickly. They want to kind of keep it nice and slow and keep it nice and simple. They'll get a lot of their speed back later on as they come further into the track and further into this elongated turn 1 and 2 of the oval into the back straightaway, which then there is a little bus stop mixed in there for their own troubles. Julian J. Conde saying that's a great course, but that's very hard, that's for sure. It certainly is indeed. Robert Van Ness saying good evening, guys. Robert, great to have you back on board, sir. Through the first part, though, Andy Flicky with the early advantage. Michael Crawl in the 11 trying to gain him ground, trying to get up to him quickly. Every driver for themselves here as we continue to move pace and move the chains. And a little bit of trouble down there. Garrett Rainey in the 17 becomes our first victim of the day. The 17 unfortunately not able to maneuver through the bus stop at blazing speeds. Here is the PTM Instant Replay. Came right around there. He braked hard, but unfortunately he had no grip. Tried to steer it off, gets into the tire barrier. And, you know, for a hit like that, honestly, that was pretty tame considering what he could have had. So I think he'll be all right to continue on and recover from it. But he definitely took a little bit of time off his hands there just from that little mistake. Swinging back to the corners now, down through the slippery slope of the inside part of the track. Paul Ellis in the 55 currently defending off John Kay and the number 2. Kay looking to try to get up to him quickly. And you can just see just the way they're gripping these wheels, the way they're holding onto this track. They are trying to be very smooth, collective, and controlled. They know they can't get too ahead of themselves. At the same time, they gotta try to find some areas to make a run off, make a little piece around the track. And I think honestly, unless I'm mistaken, I don't even think in real life we've done this. This is the first time we've ever seen the actual full-on truck race at the Daytona Road Course with the sizable amount of field and trucks. Now, I can't say this isn't the first time we've ever seen these guys go at it here, because that would be completely wrong. We actually have seen the trucks in Xfinity and Cup here before on this track, which that was done back at the Daytona Road Course with the Split Decisions Racing League way back when, if you guys remember that stuff. Bit of a time capsule going, a bit of a time off here, to say the least. Continue to dictate to the field right now. Kyle Zittel, the hard charger, if you believe it, with 2 spots up. But compared to the 5 spots up of Jerry McKinnon, the Okuma number 12 F4 Mustang, or Ford F-150, excuse me, has currently been pulling some Mustang speeds and looking for some Mustang drive there. He is pushing the F-150 straight through the air and down into contention, looking for Chad Stearns in the number 05. Chad Stearns right now currently holding him back, keeping him honest and keeping him from getting too crazy here. I keep doing it every time. It's not Stearns, it's Steams, guys. Yeah, literally, I don't know what it is with his last name. It looks like an R on my end on my live timing sheet. So Steams, I apologize, man. I don't know how I keep messing that up. Well, speaking of messing it up, oh, that might be a little bit of a mess up. Kyle Zittel in the 53. Messing up through the corner the same way I kept messing up horribly on the names here. And he ends up costing himself a lot of ground. Lost 5 positions, was 2 up. Now he's 5 down. Zettel costs himself dearly as Steves and the rest of the camps get right up ahead of him. Let's take a look at the replay. Doesn't look like there was any contact. There was. Right there, he actually, Will Salamone had to kind of lock the brakes up on the Razor 53 of Zettel. He had nowhere to go, and the Tundra takes a good little shot in the back there. Field now going to move their way to the chains and move their way back onto even place. Eddie Plicki has already developed a 3.5 second gap on Michael Kroll in the 11, as well as the number 15 of Ryan Dye. Both guys trying to stabilize and trying to find a way back up to him. Punching through the field as well. Jeremy McKinnon now back up to Chad Steves in the 05. Hey, I got it right that time. The Air Jordan Toyota Tundra. Steves currently moving the chains up ahead, looking for a drive off, looking for a position or two. Corey Rutherford in the number 50, right in the mix, right into the crux of it. Yeah, 25 laps may not seem like a lot, but again, these guys are so used to the oval side of the racing business. That's actually going to be quite a task for them. It's going to be a little bit of a workaround because they've got to actually figure out how to not only work around themselves, but also they got to figure out how to try to take this track down. This is not an easy track by any means. This is a very tough little order, and tough little deal to get around. Many drivers have since said that it's one of the tougher tracks you got to race on, one of the tougher places to deal with. And speaking of deal with, I think Kyle Zettel was getting kind of tired of dealing with Pascal Simard there. Pascal Simard, unfortunately, taking a little bump there after he has spun out. I don't know where that came from, but we'll take a look at the PT Mission replay entering into the road course of turn 1. Pascal getting really loose, and Zettel nowhere to go, ends up driving into him, and then Pascal tried to get out of the way, and then Zettel was just like, nope, forget it. Oh, there's even more trouble down there for Gary Rainey in the 17 again. Take a look at the PT Mission replay while we got it up here. Well, that's 2 spins in 2 areas, so fail unfortunately for Rainey right now. And I think it's just because he's just overdriving, overtaxed his tires a little bit from that spill earlier. And this is certainly another deal for him. Might have cooked up the right rear a little bit too much and can't quite get it to cook in or turn off as much as he would like to. Remember, he did spin on that right side, so that would definitely affect him a little bit on the long haul, on the strategies, if you will. So we'll have to see if that plays out for him later on or not, but this is definitely not looking too good for him. Rodney Robertson, 28, Hooters Machine, a little bit of a late addition here to the track, coming on bow for a little back and forth here. Singling through the turns here and looking through the field right at the moment here. Currently Shane Winslow here trying to get there to Will Salamone in the 99. Has a big bad 35 here. Has the, no pun intended, but Goodbeer F-150 to end this charge. Not Goodyear, folks. I said Goodbeer. And speaking of Goodbeer, looks like Wesloff He's going to find some good beer down in the corner of the bus stop. Sends it around Salamone, and just like a good old beer, it works the way around the track and around the circuit and around the outside, and there you go. And Salamone unfortunately cannot keep up with him. The Chicken Pot by 99 unfortunately sent back. Chicken Pit, excuse me, kind of got cooked up in a pot pie, and now finds himself trying to find a way back around him. And speaking of the Chicken Pit, looks like now he's ready to enter into the pit because he's going right back for Winslow, and he's going even for Jan Van Leer. The Wendy's number 5 of Jan Van Leer currently losing a little bit of ground, losing a little bit of time here as he sharpened it through the final sector of the little curb section turn of the final turn here, entering to the front straightaway before the finish. That part of track has given quite a few positions and finishes, we'll say before, but definitely hasn't quite given up what he wanted there. Cutting to the track, cutting through the surface here at the moment. Ryan Dye here in the 15. Remember, won last time we watched him on the show here in the Allegiant 15, looking to try to get back into that run, back into that groove of things. That victory that he got way 2 weeks ago, I would say probably was one of the biggest ticket prices that he was looking for so long. Felt like he was owed one after so many times being left down the high and dry scenarios. That victory at Las Vegas Motor Speedway certainly did the trick and gave him quite a bit more confidence, and he's hoping to do the same here. With 20 laps to go, though, the 11 of Michael Crawl currently being hunted down by that big 15 of Ryan Dye. Crawl giving up about a half a second here to Dye right now. Currently looking like it might even increase just a little bit more as you see him starting to really pull him in. Take a look at the lap times though, and you can see actually a lesser gain than we had thought on the last lap, but Dye's going to get a lot more here on Crawl if that has anything to say with it. Yeah, 0.7 of a second there gained for Mr. Dye over Crawl. That is definitely going to be a very tight little scenario to be put into, and he knows it. He's trying to evade trouble, trying to avoid any circumstances here, and he's trying to give it everything he's got at the same time. Easier said than done, though, on a track as tight as this one. Corey Rutherford, the number 50, who I believe still has not returned that official pace truck to anybody, and pretty much at this point I think he's just kind of using it for his own personal gain. Has taped up the 50 and has a little bit of some wear and tear that he's left on from the previous races, but seems to be holding up okay as he continues to dive it in deep and look for a run. Makes it stick there through Eric Breeding. The 26th F-150 can't hold the Chevrolet back. Rutherford smelled an opening. He saw a chance and he had to take it or it was going to have to leave it. He wasn't wanting to leave it, so he went for broke and went for the shot. There was the shot made, and a great drive off for him and that team there. Now he knows he's got a great opportunity here to really make something go here. Fielding around the track here currently. Positions up for grabs, up for spots here. No one able to let off quickly. No one able to get out of the control here of this track as fast as maybe they want to. Rodney Roberts way all over the place here. That truck is a little bit looser than I think he was expecting it to be, and that's not what he wanted by any means. It's hard to really say here if it's just unfortunately he's just not getting a grip or if he's not able to really stamp the truck down on the track, but either way it is not looking good for him and his crew right now. He needs to start dialing this thing in a little bit better if he wants any chance of getting some positions back. He's already a lap behind the field, or will be a lap behind the field here, excuse me, if Palicki gets anything with him. Eddie Plickett, by the way, has increased his lead on Michael Crawl by, I'd say roughly about four seconds. He's got a 6-second gap right now on Michael Crawl and won't let that one go. But as you see on lap 7, did give some time up there to Crawl. So that makes you kind of wonder, did he slow down a little bit, or did he maybe tear his tires up a little too early and kind of play his hand at the wrong place at the wrong time? Hard to really say. I think if anything, he really just needs to stay focused on himself and really nothing else. The drive will come to him if he allows it to, but if he tries to force himself, it will not come whatsoever. It'll actually just be a lot worse for wear. Well, Salamone here in the 99 currently trying to get a drive back up there to the 35 with Shane Wenthoff as they move their way down into turn 1 and 2 of the big oval of Daytona. And you can see this is where all that speed, all that power really builds off into a hard draft and a hard corner area. Really setting every driver up for that position and for that shot to take into the turn. Through the bus stop, they swing him through. Having to now clear the speed, having to clear the gaps, and Salamone able to do that. But Wenthoff not letting the good beer 35 run away that easily. Coming through the edges, coming through the track right now. Every driver for themselves still, as we're currently looking at Chad Steeves and Eric Greening back there battling a little bit. Jeremy McKinnon here, who is right now the ultimate hard charger, up there with Corey Rutherford in 7 spots. Oh, hold on there, McKinnon. Well, I don't think this is a drifters competition, but I think McKinnon might have a leg up on these boys out of that one. My word. The Okuma Ford F-150 just swinging the rear end right around the track. I'm not sure, maybe he just got way too hard in that corner, if he just wanted to try to show off a little bit, but he certainly was showing something off. That thing went swinging there. The Wendy's number 5, Jan Van Leer, still trying to stay ahead, or at least one step ahead of Wenthoff and, well, Salamone. Those guys not giving an inch and not giving up anything to the other, and that's making for some hard racing on both their ends. Brantley Gainey Jr. driving the Stranger Things, number 22, and I would say I've never seen the show, so do not come at me for that one, folks, but that is definitely a stranger replacement of the number, I would say. Everyone wants to get mad about the numbers being moved forward on the Cup car. Well, what's your excuse on that one? I really don't know what to say. That's a weird spot to put that 22 at, though. I guess it kind of lives up to the name. It is a Stranger Thing, all right. Brantley Gainey Jr., though, is catching right up there with Rutherford. Corey Rutherford a little slow off the turn. Gainey had a little speed, but he overdrove it and can't quite get it back at it. Needs a little bit of help and a little bit of a workaround. He wants any chance into those corners. Now down into the final curve turn here as they go swinging through the final sector of the bus stops. You can even just see how he works the wheel around, works it into the turn using throttle manipulation and control, allowing the truck to kind of stay nice and even keeled, nice and even speed. Well, Ryan Dye now has been caught up there by the number 11 as the big 11 machine is trying desperately, and I mean desperately, to catch him. I'm still not really sure where the damage came on the right side there. Might have gotten contact a little earlier on, but the 11 has been pretty consistent here in the Dagobah. Number 11, Silverado Chevrolet. Well, that Harvey Dent District Attorney on the side of that truck there, I'm presuming that has something to do with the Dark Knight trilogy from Christopher Nolan's Triple Three masterpiece. I don't know. You guys can correct me in the comment section for that one if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's where that little little snidbit comes from. Hard to really say. Guy staying a second ahead here of Crawl here, and it looks like a little bit of transitioning here between two of the other cats here. John Kay and Paul Ellison swapping positions as you got a 3-truck battle now off into the corner. Wensloff literally bringing it right back with a good beer 35 round. Jan Van Leer and Will Salamone. 3 different perspective and 3 different sets of drivers continuing to work their way around the field and work their way around the track, trying to find the maximum most opportunities to take here. With only about 15 laps remaining, they need every chance they can get and as much time as they can possibly counter. And speaking of counter, a huge run out there for the 55, and now it's Ellison who takes full control. Open the door up, and there someone eventually will come running through it. And that's exactly what Ellison did there. A great drive off there, taking full control from the number 2 speed of John Kay. And the Fords right now currently the dominant factor here as the Chevys struggle and the Toyotas are only slightly better than the Chevys, but not by much. Paul Ellison trying to hang in there. Jan Van Leer, oh, he's got company on his right side here. Wensloff swinging him through the turns, fighting him out, jockey for position. Usually these trucks with fenders included can usually just kind of bump and mess around with each other a little bit, but I wouldn't dare doing it here on this track. One wrong move, one wrong hit. Either you cost yourself or you're going to cost someone else and yourself a lot of time, and even worse. Jeremy McKinnon still driving like a madman out there, though. This Akuma 12 is not giving up. Hear the power as he gets it right back off the line, down into those turns, and then setting off to the big wide open track end. The 550 horsepower package though on these trucks, man, it certainly does kind of restrict them and limit them to what they can do and what they can really throw out at, and they know it. That's why they're trying really to steer clear and make or break everything they can in this race, trying to hang on. Josh Maxwell, Kyle Dumig, everybody all over the place here. Unfortunately, the 8, Maxwell able to get around. Dumig struggling to get it refired and recentered off. Both guys find themselves in a very tight little scenario, very tight little spot here. And Garrett Rainey looks like he has indeed called it a day here for now. The 17 has parked it in pit road and has lost already a couple laps there because of it. Fuel window definitely needs to be starting to close off a slight bit, and I think Andy Plicki is kind of keeping an eye on that if he will have to go into pit road, which I believe he'll have to at least go in once. Remember, only 25 laps to the distance, so he's probably trying to actually stretch out as long as he can to gain the maximum amount of speed, the maximum amount of potential here. But no driver has entered in pit road yet. No driver has gone in for a fresh set of tires. Ain't that in that area. Blicky, the race leader here, still hanging in there. Ryan Dye managing to scoot around Michael Kroll and get away from him just a little bit here. Paul Ellison and John Kay having their little tussles earlier, and literally this 4-truck battle, really it's the only battle we're just seeing that's consistently going back and forth at each other. And the chicken pit of Will Salamone getting a little bit loose there, exiting off through the final markers of the inside road course of the track. Hammer down time. Jan Van Leer looking to try to get to Wensloff's rear bumper and draft off it. Remember, the draft does work quite well here. It is old Daytona, so you know the draft will work well when these trucks can line them up and put them into position for a good push and a drive off. That's what they're hoping for, and that's what they're trying to get through every little angle, through every little spot, through the bus stop. They go round and about and round it through the turns. If you always wanted that lake view here, of course, you got the Daytona Lake down there on our end, on the bottom end of the surface there and screen you just seen a second ago as we work through the rest of the 2.5 mile long circuit. Then to the sweeping final corner turn here, down in a slingshot pass up ahead. It looks like Wenzloff will have to go to pit road. He's going to try and get a fresh set of tires and a fresh set of fuel in that speed there. That speedster has been pretty good all day, but again, could it be one to challenge up with where Jeremy McKinnon is right now? Because the Akuma 12 is currently the driver to beat, in my opinion. He is killing tires. He's swinging this thing straight in and around, absolutely flooring the horsepower and catching up every time, he seems like. And as I say that now, Salamone looks like he wants to challenge him in the 99. We've got a battle here between the 99 and the 12. Salamone looking to try to take down McKinnon. McKinnon looking to hang in. Can the Chicken Pit take down the Akuma? This one will be nearly halfway. This one being halfway done now. It's really just anybody's guess, anybody's spot when they will decide to enter into pit road, when they'll have to blink first or when they'll make their move off. I think a lot of guys are waiting for Andy Flicky to give them their chance, give them that shot to really take them in the dark. But once he goes into pit road, I mean, he's going to have such a lead on the rest of the crew. He honestly probably could get in and out and have no troubles there. He just needs to make sure he watches his pit strategy and watches where he enters in and where he enters out from. That's going to be his biggest issue, in my opinion. Look at this now. Little pass up on the side there. A little pass off. Eric Breeding in the 26. Driving a clean little run around Pascal Simard here. Pascal not able to keep up his speed, keep up the distance. The damage on the side might be affecting the aerodynamic properties of that 76. Remember, when you're driving in a 550 horsepower package, you need all the speed and extra length you can get to get that extra drive, that extra kickback, because really you don't have it on the engine block, so you have to rely on the actual truck itself to get it back. He knows that he ended up costing himself a little bit more time because of it. Salamone, Van Leer, and Andy Flicky have all entered pit road, as well as Chad Steems in that crew, which means Michael Krall in the 11 will now take the race lead away. And if I'm Krall right now, my first thought is very simple. Just keep going and keep going as fast and as long as I can. Try to get as much of a lead off from Pilecki before he comes back out. Which isn't going to be too much longer because the 32 is back out already. Pit stop pretty quick, pretty effective. Did he even take tires out there? I think, well, it looks like he did. Yeah, he took tires and fuel and trouble down there. Looks like one in the grass. I think that might have been our Dino drivers, Michael Dean. It is. It is the Dino drivers there. Let's take a look and see what happened here to the 73. Unfortunately, looks like he might have found himself a little open shot and an open leg, but didn't find the right time to use it. Right through the turn there, and you saw he just got way too aggressive into the corner. Snap locks it, steering out, and then he's trying to find a way out of there. I mean, I'm not going to blame him there. He probably was confused. I wouldn't really call it much of a shortcut, considering he didn't even really get any speed back from it there. And I think he knew very well that was not going to be how it played out for him. Ryan Dye, after running into pit road, now trying to get up there to the rest of the field and back into this fight here. He's got a hard drive off here right to the number 12 of McKinnon. And again, this is where things get really crazy and a little harder to deal with, because now the traffic, as slow as they are, you have to figure out how to get around them quickly and how to get around them fast. McKinnon giving him an opportunity and giving him a chance to get that pass up, and he does indeed. A great drive off and a great shootout in position here. It helps out his cause and helps him out in this position here. Dye right now looking to try to get another podium out of this hinch, out of this bunch. Brantley Gein Jr., Michael Dean have entered in pit road with McKinnon. Corey Rutherford also hopping out of pit road right now. Paul Ellison has moved into the second spot, but for how long? Because Andy Pilecki is still right behind him. And really, this is Michael Kral's only chance here, in my opinion, to have when it comes to just trying to take this lead and take this win away from Palicki and even die, because honestly, Palicki has been just so darn fast. He's been so consistent with his drive off, with his runs through the corner. He's just had pure consistency and pure speed unalterated on his front and on his name, and he knows that that's what he's hoping for, and that's what he wants to continue to have. If Kral doesn't go into pit road this time by, I guarantee you he's going to lose a lot more time than he realizes with Palicki. Palicki is coming up fast. He's coming up quick. Unless he can find a way to somehow have lap traffic be a little bit more of a nuisance and a thorn at the rest of the field, I don't think he's going to have time to get through it. Going to drive quick, drive hard. Does he go to pit road? This time he will. Looks like he listened to us. He'll head to pit road. And now Palicki and Ellison are going to come running right forward here. Remember, Ellison has not been in pit road yet. He's actually one of the last remaining drivers that have yet to go in. Josh Maxwell, Kyle Dumig, Kyle Zittel. There are the rest that have not gone in, but Andy Palicki able to jump ahead and take full control. Ellison goes into pit road and gives him the opposition. Cross still in pit road, getting tires and getting the truck squared up. Has not gotten out yet. Ryan Dye now look like maybe he might have a little bit of a shot back here. He's got about a 2.5 second gap closed off. Palicki getting pretty hard in the corners. A little bit of a draft off there. You can see these guys are wheeling these trucks now. Now the question becomes here, can Palicki hold off Ryan Dye if he gets caught? And also, what about lap traffic? Is that going to be a factor for him? Because Rodney Robertson, the 28, is right behind him. And increasingly getting closer to him. Remember, there's not a lot of places to pass. So if you're Palicki, you either got two options. Get him out of your way or hope they get out of your way. Or you're going to have to wait a little bit of time to get a good clear cut out of the move pass. And that's what's going to happen here. But Ryan Dye was able to close off a gap there, and he knows it too. Looking at a little bit of trouble. You can see Dye about 2 seconds back of his run right now. He had a 2.5 second gap on him, and now that's completely gotten flip-flopped around. Entering through the bus stop. Tight in, tight off, hard drive. Dye not quite as good there. The Allegiant 15 now starting to fade. And Jeremy McKinnon, after coming off pit road here, has already just kind of re-inverted through the field and now retaking over positions. Every driver for themselves, every crew member for themselves, nobody giving an inch and no one giving out until that last drive is cleared up. McKinnon though, trouble through the bus stop. McKinnon slamming right into the side there of Eric Breeding. And a huge hit for the 26 on the left side of his truck. The door panel nearly got shredded off there, my friends. Gets slammed in by McKinnon. McKinnon makes a huge, grave mistake there in the 12, and I don't even think he realized like how much of a scenario that was that he just threw himself in. He managed to get around Salamone, but then he cost himself by overshooting in through the bus stop on the back stretch. Here's one more look at it. Coming for Jan Van Leer, but you can see as soon as that truck lifted off, he had no grip. Once that truck goes up, it's gone, it's done. And then slamming the door panel right off the hinge there, if you will. It took a huge hit. See, he lost in the turn. Tries to get straightened back up and get back in the throttle, but then Breeding gets into him, and well, unfortunately the damage too severe. The 12 has blown the motor and blown the transmission. The truck is done for. What a tough break there, to say the least. That was not what he wanted to see, and that was certainly not what he was hoping for. What a big hit though he took. Back up to the front right now with only 9 laps left to go, and here's how we are looking at the moment. Ryan Dye currently lost over 3/10, and then lost about 4/10 there to Palicki. Palicki was just able to get a much better drive off, much better drive in, and now with the tires starting to warm up and starting to shred into the track with only 8 laps to go, this is starting to look like it's starting to favor him again. Salamone and Jan Van Leer will be left all alone to do their own thing. Chad Steams here in the 05. You know, after he got that huge win he got with the 05 Air Jordan machine, and probably also the huge win of now me saying his last name properly. Again, I called it Stearns for the longest time. It's actually Steams, and I want to keep reminding myself that because I don't want to keep making the mistake because I've done it every broadcast. So, Steams, I promise you this. Next broadcast, I guarantee you I will make sure I do not make that mistake again. I'm going to say it. I'm going to vow it on the show. I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen. I promise. Speaking of a promise here, it looks like a promise up to the drive here as a promising drive from Corey Rutherford. The 50 has moved in 10 spots up. He is the ultimate hard charger of the day, far beyond. He started 19th. He's currently in 9th. He has been wheeling and dealing every ounce of speed and momentum he can to get to this spot and get this limelight. Yet finds himself still behind the A ball and behind the 05 ball, if you will, of Steams. We're going to try to get up in there and back into it. John Kay, we saw the easy go number 2 F-150 earlier on, having a good little battle there with Paul Ellison, but now after Ellison had been into pit road and he went into pit road, it flopped and switched back to where he'd like to have it, and now he is taking full control of this one. Securing a top 5 position if he can just hang on, and again, there's not a lot of laps left. He needs to hang on, but remember this is a pretty sizable track, so that doesn't mean by any means that he is out of this clear. He's out in the clear and he's out all alone. 7 laps remain. Palicki knows where he's at. He knows what he has to do. If he can continue to just keep driving up nice and smooth and just keep his drive alive, it's all he really needs. He doesn't need to worry about trying to full throttle or send it. And you may have noticed too as well, race fans, some of those back markers, you're probably wondering home, like, why do they have like a 300, 200, and a 100 there? Like, what's the deal? What's the purpose for that? Well, let me let you guys info on a little bit of a road course racing staple that it comes with this ordeal, and that is those back markers and those time markers allow drivers to know how far before they're going to enter into a turn or how far they're about ready to get into a corner. So what it means is it's 300 feet, 200 feet, and 100 feet to that spot that then lines up into that corner and ends up into that position. A lot of drivers, myself included, we use it as a braking point. The braking surface has always been a tough one to figure out on road courses without really the aid of an actual track map, but with that track markers, drivers can figure out a much more consistent level and base to actually hit the turn, hit the spot just right, and get a good drive off, allowing for maximum speed and maximum potential, and giving everybody a chance to really maintain their distance and maintain their grips with what they've got in store. The insert coin, Stranger Things, number 22, Brandley Gaines Jr. holding up the top 10 here right now as Eric Breeding in the 26 tries to get up to him. But what about a 7.5 plus gap? Swayed off from him, and that's going to be very tight and a little tough to get around if you ask me. It's a tall order to work around, it's a tall order to deal with. Paul Ellison, the big 55 right now, moving his way to the change, moving his way down on the track and still looking for any kind of area or open spots he can get. Shane Wensloff here damaged up badly on the good beer 35, but I think we kind of have a guess what happened to Eric Breeding on that door panel there as well. But Wensloff, we have no idea what went wrong there for him, but there is a lot of damage in sheet metal. Very eerie to how the 26 looks, and again, we know where the 26s came from. That was due in large part to McKinnon, unfortunately losing on that bus stop that he just went around, causing a little bit of a hit there. George Sotelo saying, "Let's go, Andrew Palicki, get it." And well, right now, I think your guy right now has that kind of set in stone, although he's not out of it yet. Ryan Dye actually gained a few tenths of a second off him. Has about down to about 2 seconds. It could be a drive off between these two. One's got to give and one needs to let it loose. The race for the Space Coast 143 is nearing a conclusion. Down off the back straightaway, and you can actually see Dye is not far behind. Both guys were literally back and forth, creasing the spot, creasing the momentum. Palicki able to get back into the fight and back into the fray. About 4/10 of a second loss that last lap. This lap, it will gain about a tenth off of there, so that will help his confidence up even more. But again, he knows if he makes one glimmer or one little situation of a missed shot or a misfire entering into turns, he will be in a deep, deep hole in a pocket that maybe he might not be able to get out from. This is certainly going to get very, very tumultuous and tricky here for him, and he knows it too. Back on the pack here, some of the guys usually we talk about that are usually on the higher end of the oval section, like Kyle Dumick here in the 18 currently. Not finding the same luck on the Daytona Road Course here. Having struggled and having trouble to keep his speed up, keep anything going. Rodney Roberts was much the same. We saw that with Garrett Rainey and Jeremy McKinnon earlier. Kyle Zittel even, he was actually making some runs there, making some good spots and good takings there, but he did not find a way to get around the rest of the field or a way to get back onto the track when he needed to. Field starting to strap down, really starting to corner off and give it everything they can now at this point. Know they have a lot left in the tank and know they don't have a lot left time on the clock. 4 laps left to go. Your top 5 on your screen here, separating out by a good position, a good error or two. Michael Krall earlier on did have a chance at actually making a little bit of a comeback trail, a little bit of a comeback fight, but did not see the same results and did not see the same positions that he was hoping for. Marching along here, last minute chances, last minute opportunities coming up quick, coming up fast. Kyle Zittel actually about ready to be passed up there by Krall and be lapped back to him in this case. That could make things a little bit more difficult and could be a little bit more treacherous here, and they know it too. Coming down through the tracks, it'll pass up, knows he had really nowhere to go and nothing he can do about it. Had to lose time and lose ground for it. Still 2 seconds remaining here between Andy Palicki and Ryan Dye as we're now 3 laps left. 3 laps left to go, and take a look at the distance between the two marker boys here. This is where things get interesting. If Ryan Dye is saving that truck up just a little bit, that could mean the difference between success or failure here. The Allegiant 15 is hoping for a break and for a little bit of a chance here to throw at Palicki. And he knows it. He's hoping to hang on, hoping to try to steer and clear and hope for the best that he can get. This could be anybody's chance, anybody's shot. Dye looks like he might have slowed down a little bit too much there on that second leg of the turns and the corners. Lost a lot of grip and lost a lot of speed there. George rooting on his boy Palicki, trying to get him to do some work and get this thing going. Well, he's not like I said, he's still got it. Just needs 3 more good laps. He'll have about 2 more remaining when he gets that finish line here. Jan Van Leer in the 5 and the 99 Will Salamone here. Maybe having one last little tussle between the Chicken Pit and the Wendy's craft. The crafty nature of Wendy's is 5. Jan Van Leer currently still holding a charge and mounting up a major amount of speed here. Hoping for the best and hoping for a ride-off through the corners and through the exits. Now down in. They set him off for the big oval turn 1 and then the big oval turn 2. That's where things can get very interesting here. Exiting through those turns, exiting through those shots. And now a 3-second gap also has just been thrown on from Andy Palicki to Ryan Dye. Dye lost a lot of time there, and he knew it. He's not going to have a chance to get it back here unless he gets a good drive off into the distance. He's not going to get it there. Where I've got 2 laps to go. Green flag high in the air now. Two laps remaining here with a green flag high in the air. Anybody's race for their positions and last minute chances. Really the ones that are fighting for ground is the 5th spot with Jan Van Leer in the 5 and the 99. Andy Palicki and Ryan Dye, the 32 and the 15 respectfully. Michael Crawl and John Kay are in a pretty comfortable position from their own sanctuaries, their own spots. Paul Ellison in the 55, same thing with him. And Chad Steems also in that fray and in that mix. But they're very much separated out and spread out by quite a bit here, where you wouldn't even have known where they actually were at until you actually saw them on the screen. They are in the top 10. They are currently holding their own, holding themselves up for this track end. Just one more time, they'll have to get through in the middle part of the oval of the road course section here as Palicki now sends it down to the big turn 3, turn 4 area of the big oval. John Kay, the number 2, trying to hang in there, trying to give him something to think about. The easy go for the F-150 number 2, looking to hope for the best and hang on. But with time running out and time accelerating off into the distance, it's not looking too well. It is not looking like it's gonna hang in there. Through the legs in and through the final sectors we go, race fans. It is time. Here we go. White flag high in the air. Andy Palicki without a 5-second gap over Ryan Dye. Might have all but just secured this race win with that big jump into the final sectors and saving some tire up. Dye looks like he might have abused him a little too much trying to catch him. Palicki has now just a few center points away and a few center corners off. Just moving the truck around now, just needs to stay out of trouble. Don't try to do anything too crazy. Don't try to do anything out of the ordinary. Anybody's chances, anybody's race here, leaning down to the final packs in position. Everyone looking for one last leg up, one last position around. It looks like Shane Winslow found that out the hard way. Pascal Simard with a great drive off and a great final battle concluding up here with a stunning 4 at the 35. Winslow gives him the bumper, and Simard getting off the bump out of the bus stop gets taken for a ride there and loses ground and position. Winslow escapes with the 11th spot here and sent it on its way. Down the back straightaway though, here comes full race leader Andy Plecki looking for the final ends of his turns. Just needs to handle through the bus stop, keeps it nice and centered, under control, one more time by. He just needs to drive it off into the distance and into the final corners. His crowd, his fans, rooting him on here at Daytona and in the Pizza Race TV chat. He'll line it down through the final corner here at the seamless front straightaway of the Daytona Road Course. Andy Plecki, checkers are out. Victory for the 32. The Ford F-150 brings it home in victory lane. And a final drive off here from Michael Crawl will pop away with a 3rd spot. John Kay gonna ease and control himself around here for a 4th spot. And the easy go for a number 2 will end up hanging out for the Ford F-150 camp and take home 4th place. It looks like Jan Van Leer will secure the 5th spot in the Wendy's Chevrolet Silverado. He'll take the final top 5 position away. Will Salamone couldn't get the chicken pit up to him quick enough. The 5 will go 5th today. But for Andy Plecki, this one certainly takes the cake as a huge win once more for him and his crew here. He is your race for the Space Coast 143 winner today at Daytona Road Course. A big, big win for Plecki today and a huge drive off to the end. He needed this one here as his home crowd, his home crowd at Wichita Falls are watching on from our end on Pizza Race TV and some friends and family as well, rooting him on to the very end of this all. What a race and what a shootout by everybody involved. Plecki gonna send it on its way down to the end and down to the track side here. We are still got a few drivers finishing out still. Checkers are still getting cleared up. And the race results have now been tallied up and concluded. Plecki will get himself a nice little burnout out there, as Ryan Dye will go 2nd, Crawl will go 3rd, Kay will go 4th, Van Leer will be 5th, Salamone 6th, 7th to Ellison, Steams goes 8th. And then 9th will go to Rutherford, and the 10th will be to Brantley Gainey Jr. to round out your field here. Wait. It is, wait, I've said chats, hold on, 10th actually, well, yeah, and I gotta correct myself again. I believe I keep getting wrong on the names here, so. Anyway, we got top 10 now finished out here, race fans. The field has now finished up and concluded. We're gonna take a listen to our top 5 here in just a minute here. And I don't know how I keep getting it wrong here on my end, but it's Chad Stearns, not Steams. Why do I keep calling him Steams? I don't understand. I think I honestly might be having a hard time keeping up with the last names here on these guys. I'm sorry about that, Stearns. I said it was Stearns originally, then I said Steams. Now I'm just really losing it. He'll probably have to get back at me for that one later. I won't blame him if he does. But let's get to the top three race fans. Let's finish this night off. Michael Krall is going to take home the victory and take home the win and the third place spot, at least for a podium. So I guess you could say that's a win in his own right. But Krall, as you come away third today, congratulations on that podium. And, you know, this was a very long drive and a very tight little spot here for you guys to deal with. You took the lead a little bit in that race, but then pit stops needed to be made, and it looked like the speed just wasn't quite enough to get to Dyer or Palicki there.
Yeah, I'll take the win, as you said. I went ahead and just stayed out, considering I didn't have anything for the top two cars. So I went ahead and stayed out just to lead a lap. Looked like I had to stay out for an extra one, so I did that. And tires were pretty hot and greasy, so I think everybody that I was on the radio with talking about the car dancing around, getting squirrely. I knew I couldn't catch the top two cars, so I just raced my race.
You raced your race, you went for broke, and you know, I know that takes a lot out of you, and definitely takes a little bit more to get through. But I mean, for this crew and this team, I mean, how difficult was it to kind of keep this thing online? Much less trying to even get through some of these tight corners here.
Yeah, at the beginning of a stint, the truck handles okay after the tires warm up, but once they get hot, it's a handful. And those tight hairpins, I kept overshooting. Um, I went back and forth with Ryan a little bit early in the race. Once he finally, and he could have got around me, it was just a matter of putting my truck in the way. So as soon as he got around me, he took off, and I was never going to catch him.
Well, at the end of the day, though, Krall, at least a third place finish can be considered a good little position and timing point for you and the crew. So who do you want to thank you for that?
I'd like to thank George Lucas mostly. That was the inspiration behind my team and my truck. So I think all praise to George Lucas for that.
All right. Well, Krall, definitely a lot of drive and a lot of heart in you today at the road course, and a third place finish is a solid thing to show. So congratulations on that, and we'll catch you next time out here, bud.
Right on. Thank you, sir.
Michael Krall, ladies and gentlemen, in the number 11, coming away as your third place driver of the bunch. Coming away, though, in the second spot today, Ryan Dye will bring the F-150s camp into the crew. And Dye, you came off a win last time we saw you here and ended up coming away now on a second place finish. I mean, it seems like you are now on a roll, my friend.
I will take a second place all day long. Keep the points lead. You know, kept it clean. Didn't put a tire off the track, although I hit a turtle once. I felt like I had to run a perfect race to have any chance, and I felt like I pretty much ran about as perfect as a race as I could. And but just in this league, if you're turning right and left, then Andy is the man. And so unless he has, you know, a speeding penalty or something like that, he's going to be hard to beat. And today was just one of those days. It was hard to beat, but I'm happy to get as many points as humanly possible, and we'll look forward to next week when we turn left again.
I was going to say, when you guys do turn left again and have yourself a little bit of a field day there, it's being that track next up on the list. I mean, we talk about fast-paced super speedway racing. Well, you guys are going to a track that has a little habit of making it a more of a drafter's paradise as much as a runner's paradise. You're going to Chicagoland. So, I mean, how difficult do you think it's going to be to really keep everyone in line and really watch out for the rest of the field when things get a little crazy there?
We've raced here, I think, once before in our league. I didn't have the greatest of luck. Chicago's not a great track for me, admittedly. So it'll be one of those. Hope we can run top 5 or maybe a top 10. I always feel like if you can just keep top 10 in yourself all the way through the season, you're probably going to win a championship. So that's what we'll do next week. We'll try to keep all 4 fenders on it and be there at the end, and you see what happens.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Dye, nevertheless, as you finalize here, anybody want to thank for the second place finish?
Man, just thanks to my team keeping me calm. Fun race. Thank you for broadcasting this. We love this, and thank you to everybody in the league. This has been fun.
For sure there. Ryan, congratulations on second place finish today, sir.
Thank you.
Ryan Dye, ladies and gentlemen, coming away second out of the crew today. And at last, the driver that, well, for lack of a better words, as everyone else has been saying, just took this one over and dominated it. It's Andy Plicki in the 32, ladies and gentlemen, bringing it home to victory lane. And Andy qualified first, finished first, and really it looked like no one was touching it, although Ryan Dye did have a little bit something to say there as you guys were getting a little bit later into that run. I got a feeling you're getting a little bit more on the grippy end of that wheel when he was starting to see him coming up just a little bit.
A little. I made a mistake going into sixth there and got a really bad corner. Unfortunately, that it just carries over through the entire backstretch. But once we completed pit stops, my goal was just to manage a gap between me and Ryan. So really just kind of played a lot of mirror driving to not let him get too close.
And when he didn't get, when he ended up getting a little bit close, get a little closer, then you started to really kind of push the positions back in. It seemed like it was just time to start letting it loose and letting it throw. In the last 5 laps, the final 5, it just seemed like all of a sudden, nope, we're just going for big and taking this one home, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much at that point, I wanted to, like I said, get a very comfortable position. I knew where my weak points on the track were, so I was very, very cautious on those points, but attacked when I could to try to get that gap up. So.
Well, you definitely did indeed, and once again, as you had a crew behind you and a fan support about as well on our end on the Facebook and YouTube side, you are going to be the race winner today, Andy, and with a big win like this, I got to ask you, bud, who do you want to thank you for this one?
I thank my sponsors, Nissan Wichita Falls. They're a great company to work for, a great car dealership. If you need a car, definitely come hit us up, NissanWichitaFalls.com. Our sales guys will take care of you. If you need service, definitely come into us. We're some of the best in town. So thank you at PTM for the broadcast, and thanks to everybody in this league. It's a great league to run in. So makes for a lot of fun every Tuesday night.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Andy, as you come away the race winner today at the road course, congratulations taking home the race for the Space Coast 143 here at Daytona Road Course, sir.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Plicki will be a race winner here today at the Daytona Road Course, and that will all but conclude today's action here at the Daytona Road Course. Thanks so much for everyone that tuned on in our YouTube and Facebook end. Certainly couldn't do it without you guys, and we appreciate all the love and support. So without further ado, I send it off this way with a thank you and a goodbye for now. We'll see you tomorrow night as Super Money Race returns to the show.